My name is Helen Foster, and I want to tell you about the day I died. It all happened on October 15th, 2023. That morning, I woke up like any other day, brewed my coffee, and watched the sunrise paint the sky in hues of orange and pink, completely unaware that within a few short hours, I would be standing at the very edge of eternity. The events that followed changed not just my life, but my entire perception of life, death, and the unbreakable bonds of love. I didn't just survive, I was given something incredibly rare and precious, a glimpse beyond the veil that separates our world from the next. I am not telling this story for attention or to try and make anyone believe something they are not ready for. I feel compelled to share it because what I saw and what I felt that day answered a question I had carried like a heavy stone in my heart for years. Before that moment, I wasn't sure, I could only hope, but now I know. And I believe with every fiber of my being that God allowed me to return so that I could tell others, especially those carrying the same silent question, what He showed me. This isn't just about a strange medical event. It is about truth, about choices, and most of all, about a love that death cannot extinguish. If you've ever wondered what happens after we say our final goodbyes, if you've ever missed someone so much that you ache with the wish that they could still hear you, then please keep listening. Because what I learned might change everything for you, too. Before October 15th, my life was a tapestry woven from ordinary moments. At 42, I had found a quiet contentment. I worked as a school librarian, a job that brought me a gentle peace, surrounded by the comforting scent of old paper and the soft whispers of children discovering new worlds within the pages of books. My own children, my son Leo and my daughter Clara, were now grown and living their own lives, building their own stories. My faith had always been the anchor of my life. I was raised to believe in God, and I did deeply, even when life became hard and my understanding faltered. There were seasons of profound doubt, of course. Times when I knelt in prayer and my words felt empty, echoing off the ceiling and falling back on me unheard. Times when I questioned if my small acts of faith truly made a difference in a world so full of noise and pain. But through it all, I kept coming back to Him, holding on to the trust that His love was greater and more persistent than my fears. I didn't consider myself extraordinary. I was just a woman trying to live a good, kind life. But my life had a hole in it, a gaping wound that never fully closed, no matter how much time passed. Losing my husband, David, to a sudden heart attack 3 years earlier was the first time I had truly faced the brutal finality of death up close. He had been my rock, my best friend, the other half of my soul since we were teenagers. His absence was not just a void, it was a constant, quiet ache in the center of my heart. After he passed, I found myself talking to him constantly. It became a secret ritual. I would sit in the quiet of my kitchen in the early morning, coffee cup warming my hands, and I would whisper to him. I miss you, David, the kids are doing well. Clara finally got that promotion, I wish you were here to see it. Sometimes when I needed strength, I would close my eyes and ask for his wisdom, for the steady calm he always possessed. Some days I could almost feel his presence, a faint warmth, a fleeting memory of his smile. But I never knew for sure. Was I just imagining it, a trick of a grieving mind? Did he hear a single word? Those questions stayed with me, a constant, unanswered prayer, until the day I crossed over and finally found out the truth. It started with a terrible pain in my chest. I was sitting at my desk in the school library, helping a young student find a book. Suddenly, a sharp, crushing sensation seized me. It felt as if someone had clamped down on my ribs with both hands and was squeezing with all their might. At first, I thought it was just stress or perhaps a severe case of heartburn. But the feeling didn't go away. It only intensified, radiating down my left arm, stealing my breath. I remember gasping for air, clutching my chest, the student's face blurring before me. I tried to call out for help, but only a choked whisper escaped. Someone must have seen the panic in my eyes because the next thing I knew, I was on the floor, the cool linoleum a shocking contrast to the fire in my chest. I was staring up at a constellation of worried faces, my colleagues, the school nurse. The world around me dissolved into a chaotic blur. Voices sounded muffled and distant, as if I were hearing them from the bottom of a deep pool. My body felt immensely heavy, a leaden weight that was no longer connected to my mind. I tried to speak, to tell them I couldn't breathe, that I was scared, but no words came out. Then, just like that, the crushing pain, the fear, the sounds, everything went dark. I do not know how long I was gone. Time, as I knew it, had lost all meaning. The next thing I remember is floating. I was above my own body, watching the frantic chaos unfold below me. Paramedics were shouting, moving quickly and efficiently around my collapsed form. I could see the raw fear in the eyes of my friends, the urgency in every movement of the medical team. I wanted to reach out, to tell them that I was still here, that the pain was gone, but I couldn't. I was weightless, untethered, a silent observer being pulled gently but firmly towards something I couldn't yet see or explain. There was a light ahead. It began as a pinpoint, but it grew into a warm, radiant glow that seemed to call my name without ever using words. I felt drawn to it not by force but by an irresistible love, like a child running into the open, waiting arms of a parent. As I moved toward it, the fear I should have felt simply melted away. The pain was a distant memory. All I felt was a peace so profound, so complete, it was beyond anything I had ever experienced on Earth. I didn't want to leave my family, my children. But something deeper inside me, a core of knowing, told me it was okay. This wasn't the end, it was a new beginning. As I moved toward the light, I was enveloped by a warmth unlike anything I had ever known. It wasn't physical warmth from a sun or a fire. It was the warmth of pure comfort, of absolute safety, and of unconditional love, all wrapped into one. Every movement closer filled me with an overwhelming sense of belonging, the feeling of a weary traveler finally returning home after being lost for far, far too long. The light didn't blind me. Instead, it illuminated everything around me with a divine clarity and purity. I could see every detail, yet there were no harsh edges, no shadows, only a gentle, all-encompassing radiance. Then I noticed figures standing in the distance, waiting for me within the light. They weren't strangers. I recognized some of them immediately, my heart, or what served as my heart now, leaping with a joy I cannot describe. My mother was there, her face free from the lines of pain that had marked her final years. She was smiling at me with the same deep, knowing love she had shown me all her life. Her presence was overwhelming, a wave of pure maternal love that washed over me. I hadn't seen her since she passed, but there she was, more vibrant, more alive than I had ever seen her on Earth. Beside her stood other familiar, beloved faces. My grandmother, her hands no longer gnarled with arthritis. An old friend from childhood who had been taken by cancer far too young. Even a cousin I barely remembered from my early years. They all looked peaceful, whole, and completely untouched by the struggles and sorrows of earthly life. I wanted to run to them, to throw my arms around my mother and cry tears of joy, but I didn't need to move. In an instant, I simply was with them. There were no words exchanged, not with mouths or ears. Yet I understood everything they wanted to convey. They welcomed me not with speech, but with a pure, direct transmission of emotion, love, overwhelming joy, and a perfect understanding that bypassed all human language. And then, stepping forward to greet me, his form more solid and radiant than the others, was my David. He was there, my husband, smiling at me, his eyes filled with the same love that I had cherished for 25 years, but now it was perfected, purified, eternal. I wanted to hold him, to tell him how much I had missed him, but he already knew. He communicated it all back to me in a single, loving gaze. I know, Helen, I heard you, every time. I also sensed another presence, though I couldn't see him clearly. It was as if the light itself was alive, a conscious being surrounding me, embracing me. I felt known. Not just in the way people know each other on Earth, but completely deeply, as if every part of my soul, every fear, every failure, every hope was laid bare and still accepted, still loved without condition or judgment. There was no condemnation, only grace. In that moment, I realized something profound. Death wasn't an ending, it was a transition, a passage into something truer and more real than I had ever imagined. As I stood in that radiant light, surrounded by the loving presence of those I had lost, something shifted within my understanding. It wasn't just the joy of seeing them again or the overwhelming peace that filled my soul. It was a sudden, deep, and complete comprehension of something I had never grasped before. Life and death were not separate, distant realities. They were connected, woven together in a beautiful, intricate tapestry of love. And in that moment, the answer to my years of questioning was given. I didn't hear it spoken aloud. It was more like a knowing, an unspoken truth that settled into the very core of my heart like a seed taking root in fertile soil. The dead do hear us. I could feel the truth of it in the way David looked at me, in the way my mother reached out and gently touched my arm, sending waves of comfort and confirmation through me. They weren't just disembodied spirits floating in eternity, detached and distant from the world I had left behind. They were aware, they were present, they were listening. And then, as if responding to the thoughts forming in my mind, I felt something else. A rush of emotions, memories, and voices, not from the spirits around me, but from the world I had just left. It was like hearing echoes from a great distance, yet they were as clear and intimate as a whisper in my ear. I could feel the prayers of my children. It was like threads of pure, golden light, woven from love and desperation, reaching out from the physical world and touching my soul. I could distinguish my son Leo's steadfast, faithful prayer from my daughter Clara's heartbroken, tearful plea begging for me to come back. I could sense my friends from church, gathered together, lifting my name up to God. It was overwhelming, but it wasn't painful. It was the most beautiful symphony I had ever heard. That was when I realized, with absolute certainty, the dead are not gone. They are still with us in ways we may not fully understand on earth. And they can hear us, our words, our prayers, our sorrow, and our love. They are not beyond our reach. In that place of light and love, I began to understand truths that had eluded me my entire life. It wasn't just that the dead can hear us, it was the depth of what that truly meant. Their connection to us isn't severed by death, in some ways it is purified. They feel our prayers, our longing, our love. They witness our joys and our sorrows. And more importantly, they remember the choices we made and see the choices we are still making with a perfect clarity. One by one, moments from my life flashed before me. Not just the big, life-altering events, but the small, seemingly insignificant things, too. I saw the times I had chosen kindness over bitterness, patience over frustration. Each of those moments shone with a brilliant, beautiful light. But I also saw the moments I had held on to anger longer than I should have. The times I failed to forgive a friend for a small slight. The sharp, careless words I had spoken to David in a moment of frustration. It wasn't a punishment, it was a revelation, it was a lesson. Everything mattered. Every choice, every action, every word had shaped who I was and who I would become. Then I understood why mercy and forgiveness were so vital. In that place, I felt the spiritual weight of every grudge I had ever held. I saw a memory of a bitter argument with my sister over our mother's belongings after she died. I had held onto that resentment for years. Now I could feel it as a heavy, cold stone in my spiritual form, a burden I had chosen to carry. And in an instant, I saw the incredible power of letting it go, the freedom it brought, the healing it created not just for me, but for her soul as well. Forgiveness wasn't just something we do for others, it was something we do for ourselves. It was the key to peace, both here and hereafter. I also realized how powerful prayer truly was. I had always believed in prayer, but now I knew it. I could feel the prayers of my loved ones reaching me, not as weak pleas, but as powerful forces pulling me back, pleading for my return. Prayer wasn't just words whispered into the void. It was a lifeline, a tangible force that could bridge the gap between heaven and earth. And perhaps the most profound realization of all was that life doesn't end. What we do here, who we choose to be, how we treat others, it all carries forward. Our time on earth isn't just a dress rehearsal for eternity. It is eternity unfolding moment by moment. Just as I was absorbing everything, the light, the presence of my loved ones, the truth of my life flashing before me, I felt a pull, a gentle but insistent tug back toward the world I had left behind. It wasn't forceful, but more like a soft, persistent invitation to return. I hesitated, a part of my soul cried out to stay. The peace I felt in that place was unlike anything I had ever known. I had spent my whole life searching for contentment, for a sense of belonging, and here it was, waiting for me. But then, the feeling of my children's prayers intensified. I saw my husband, David, beckoning me not back to him in heaven, but back to them on earth, a look of profound love and understanding in his eyes, as if to say, they still need you. I saw my son Leo kneeling beside my body in the hospital, his face streaked with tears, gripping my hand like he never wanted to let go. I saw my daughter Clara leaning over me, whispering desperately, "Come back, Mom, please come back, we're not ready." Their voices were faint like distant echoes, but I could feel their love wrapping around me, a powerful, earthly anchor tugging at my soul. I realized at that moment that my time wasn't done yet. There was still something for me to do, a message for me to carry. With a final, loving glance at David, at my mother, at all the loved ones who had gathered to welcome me home, I stepped back. The light didn't vanish. It remained steady and constant, but I was moving away from it, drawn once more by the unbreakable cords of love into the physical world. The moment I re-entered my body, pain rushed back in with a vengeance. My lungs burned as I gasped for air, a raw, ragged breath that felt like breathing fire. My heart pounded wildly against my ribs. The sterile, chemical smell of the hospital filled my nose, and the chaotic sound of machines beeping surrounded me. I was alive, but I was not the same woman who had walked into that library that morning. The answer had come to me, not as a single revelation, but as a deep, undeniable certainty that was now a part of my very soul. Yes, the dead can hear us. They are aware of our words, our prayers, our grief, and even our joy. They feel our love in ways we can't fully understand. During my time in that radiant place, I could sense everything happening back in the world I had left behind. It wasn't just sound, it was emotion, raw and powerful, reaching across the veil that separates life and eternity. And it wasn't only my loved ones who were listening, others were there too. People I had known briefly, those I had lost touch with. It was as if every relationship, every interaction, had left an imprint that continued beyond death. What struck me most was how deeply our words matter. While I was there, I felt the weight of every kind word spoken in love, every prayer lifted in faith, every expression of sorrow and forgiveness. I also felt the heaviness of unspoken apologies, of unresolved conflicts, of things left unsaid. Even from the other side, these things lingered, not as punishments, but as unfinished threads waiting to be tied. So yes, the dead can hear us, and not only do they hear us, they respond. Not always in ways we expect, but in ways that matter, through dreams, through unexpected moments of peace, through the quiet, intuitive assurance that they are still with us. Our prayers reach them, our love finds them. Because just as we carry their memory with us, they carry ours with them. If you're a believer, if you've placed your trust in God's love and mercy, then I want you to know this with all your heart: your faith is not in vain. What you believe is real, the hope you hold on to is true. During my time beyond this world, I felt the presence of God in a way I had never experienced before. It wasn't just a belief anymore, it was absolute certainty. His love is real, His grace is endless. And His promises are not empty words, they are eternal truths. I also saw how deeply God values our relationships. He doesn't just care about grand gestures or dramatic acts of faith. He notices the quiet prayers you whisper in the middle of the night. He sees the sacrifices you make for others, even when no one else does. He hears every word you speak in love, every effort you make to forgive, every time you choose mercy over resentment. These things are the very currency of heaven. They shape your eternity, not just your earthly life. So if you've ever doubted whether your prayers matter, let my experience be your reassurance. They do. Your voice reaches places you can't see. Your love extends beyond what you can measure. When you pray for someone who has passed, when you speak to them in your heart, they hear you. And more than that, they feel your love. Don't be afraid to talk to those who have gone before you. Don't hesitate to pour out your heart, to seek their guidance in your memories, to express your sorrow or your gratitude. And if there's something left unsaid, something you wish you had told them before they left, speak it now. They can hear you. Most importantly, live in a way that honors eternity. Be quick to forgive, be slow to anger. Hold on to faith even when life is hard. Love boldly, serve humbly. and trust that God is working in ways you may not yet understand. Because what you do here, how you live, how you love, these things echo beyond death. And one day, you will see just how much they mattered. Since returning from that experience, my life has changed in ways I never expected. I still wake up each morning in this world. I still carry the responsibilities of daily life. I still face challenges and moments of doubt. But something deep within me has shifted permanently. I no longer fear death. I no longer wonder if this life has meaning. I know beyond any shadow of a doubt that we are loved, that we are seen, that every prayer, every act of kindness, every word spoken in faith is known and remembered. Not just by those still here with us, but by those who have gone ahead. More than anything, I want you to take this truth to heart. The dead are not gone. They are with us in ways we may not always understand, but they are there. They hear our prayers, they feel our love. They rejoice when we choose goodness, when we extend mercy, when we forgive. And they wait for us not in sadness, but in joyful hope. If you've lost someone, don't stop talking to them, don't stop praying for them. Speak their names, share your heart. Let them know they are missed, that they mattered, that they still matter. And if there's something you wish you had said, say it now. They can hear you. And for those who are still here, still walking this path, live in a way that honors eternity. Make peace where you can, love without hesitation. Forgive freely, because one day we will all stand where I stood, and we will see just how much our choices mattered. Thank you for listening. I pray this story brings you comfort, hope, and a renewed sense of purpose. Remember, you are never alone, you are loved. And one day, we will all meet again. If this testimony touched your heart or gave you hope, I want to invite you, don't keep it to yourself. If you're watching this on YouTube or any other platform, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. These stories are meant to be shared, and your support helps spread this message to others who may need to hear it right now. Whether you're walking through grief, searching for answers about life after death, or just needing a reminder that you're not alone, this is for you. So hit that like button, subscribe, and join others who are seeking truth, hope, and healing. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening, and remember, you are deeply loved, both in this life and beyond.